Hey, what's up, Exit the Matrix family? Bob here. Hey guys, hope you're having a great day. Thanks for joining me on this morning talk. Hey guys, today I wanted to talk about multinational corporations. Multinational corporations have actually always been around, or at least there used to be city-states way back when that operated like multinational corporations. They were like the merchant, the merchants of the past. You had the Phoenicians were well known for this. The Phoenicians, they had probably the greatest early navy out of any civilization that we're aware. As far as we know, we don't know much about Atlantis. I'm sure they had one hell of a navy, but the Phoenicians, they were traders, and their fleets traded all up and down the Mediterranean, probably up the coast of France, and around the coast of Africa and everything. It's hard to say how far they went. There is I've seen some evidence that they made their way to the Americas also. Now, that doesn't mean that they regularly traded with the Americas at the time, but the Phoenicians, they were essentially like a multinational corporation. They were a city-state. They had a base location, but they were known for international trading, and their influence is spread all around that area. They spread religion and their monetary system and all kinds of stuff, all the goods. So there's always been this. You had the what were they called? The British, the East India Corporation. Is that what they were called? The East India Trading Corporation. They were a British corporation, but they were actually the ones that helped spread the British Empire. They many times they acted as double agents when they would go into new lands to trade with their ships and all their cargo and goods and stuff. They would infiltrate the local governments a lot of times and gain espionage and influence and stuff, so that the British government could come in later and know how to invade them, or know how to gain their influence over that nation. And they traded around the whole world. I mean, the East India Trading Company, they were everywhere. That was what made Britain an empire, essentially. They were as important to the British Empire as the British Navy was. So we've always seen this, and now it's kind of taken on a different type of thing with multinationals. Now you have car companies, that, let's say, Volkswagen, it's a German car brand. However, it's built, they're built in other countries. The parts come from like over 200 countries. This is the same with American cars. A lot of your Fords, and they're all built in Mexico and in Canada. But however, they have parts from over 200 countries on Earth. And you see this a lot. Like, a lot of times when people think a company is like based in one country, they're really mistaken nowadays with globalism. And that's what all this has become, is globalism. And look, there's nothing wrong with trading with other nations, and it's a human trait. We like to trade, we barter. It's been happening since the beginning of time, and it's understandable, that you're going to have large corporations that are going to do business with many nations. I mean, everything's a double-edged sword. Like, look, folks, like, when I rail against globalism, it's not against the positives about globalism, like trade of goods and stuff like that. If it's fair trade to both countries, that is. If one country's getting screwed over and used and abused by another country, and maybe it's because of a conglomeration of countries kind of band together to force that on that nation, then that's not fair trade. Or if you have politicians that are criminals within your country, which most politicians are criminals, they'll oftentimes sell out their own country to these multinational, these globalist corporations. They'll take bribes from them, what we would call getting lobbied, right? I mean, let's be real. Lobbyists are just professional bribers. That's all they are. And they buy off politicians. And that's how corporations control Congress. And this isn't just the United States. Happens all over the world, every country. Typically, psychopaths like to rule over people and like power and wealth. And they'll do anything to get it. And those are the types that usually rise in governments to top levels. Because that's their whole life's purpose, is to, have that power and wealth and influence over everybody else. It's like a game to them. While most people just want to raise their families in relative peace and security and, be able to pay their bills and put food on the table and, just live a decent life. That's what most people want. Well, these people aren't like that. They'll stomp on anybody to get what they want. And, of course, globalism, international trade, multinational corporations have always preyed upon weaker countries and weaker peoples. Less technologically evolved nations. Africa has been one of the favorite honeypots of multinational globalist corporations for hundreds of years. Because they've got massive natural wealth, as far as, mining, like metals and minerals and, the exotic animals and the exotic plants and fruits and vegetables, all the stuff that comes out of Africa, diamonds and gold. And I mean, Africa's probably, resource-wise, the wealthiest continent on Earth. But it's the poorest because it has been preyed upon by these multinational corporations for hundreds of years. And they've bought out and corrupted their politicians so that their politicians are happy to sit in their little palaces with all the money they make off these multinationals while their people starve. And it's unfortunate but that's what psychopaths see. Psychopaths don't care about other people. I don't understand how people actually think that politicians care about them. It's a game to them, okay? Most of them are sociopaths, psychopaths. At the very least, they're hardcore narcissists with little empathy. They act like they're empathetic on TV and all that, but that's just to trick you. It's an illusion. It's to weave an illusion so that you think they're a good person, but they're really not. But this has been going on for a long time. The rich countries prey upon the poor countries. They buy off their politicians. Their multinational corporations go in and rape and pillage their resources. And the people continue to starve there, and they get little to no technological advancement. That is one thing I'll say about China, and trust me, it makes me grind my teeth to say anything good about China, because they're a corrupt they're run by a corrupt government, just like the West is, but just under a different system. But the Chinese are very opportunistic. But they're down there buying up most of the mines in Africa. But the difference between them and the Western multinational corporations that go in there is that they're actually building them airports and roads and railroad systems and distribution systems. Unlike the West, where we just go and we steal everything, and then we leave the dirt roads and I mean, we would only build the bare minimal infrastructure needed to pillage. That's it. The Chinese actually, they're in Africa. They're actually gaining influence over the West in Africa because they're actually building infrastructure that is helping the people in Africa. I mean, that's at least one positive I'll give to the Chinese. Oh, they're definitely taking their resources still. Don't get me wrong. Look, folks, what we're watching right now is a massive reorganization of the world power structure. You have right now, China is vying to push America and the West to the side and to rise as the top nation. They're going about it a little different than the West has. And in the way the West is kind of getting paid back for what they've done. It's unfortunate because most people in the West, I'm talking about the citizens, do not want any of this. Okay? However, we have enjoyed great benefits. At least up to this point. Now, obviously, things are starting to change, but we've always enjoyed this high standard of living, partly because our corporations, based in our countries, who operate as multinational corporations on the world stage, have been pillaging these poor lands and bringing those resources back to us, and which has allowed for cheap products and other stuff, and the American people and most of your Western people, they don't like this. We know it's wrong, but it's happened for quite a while. But now what we're starting to see, folks, is a shift. As China has snatched up a good percentage of the world's most strategic mines, like lithium and cobalt and such. And you got this big push by the climate cultists for all these batteries and electric cars and solar panels. Well, folks, what do you think you need to produce all that? You need lithium and cobalt and other rare earth elements. And most of that you'll find in Africa. And most of those mines now are under the control of the Chinese. And so what's happening with the Western world is, as we have these idiot politicians pushing this Green New Deal junk down our throats, which is bankrupting us, trying to force us into all this, these cars that, I mean, the replacement battery on an electric car is like, I've seen anywhere from like $10,000 to $30,000. You basically got to buy your car over again if you need to replace your battery. And from just like any battery, cell phone or anything, laptop battery, the day that you buy that item and that has that lithium battery, from that first full charge after, that battery will continue to degrade from day one. Hold less of a charge every time you charge it. Run out of power quicker. So do you think the electric cars are any different? Absolutely not. Except now you got these giant toxic batteries that are going to be sitting in landfills, and it's just, the whole electric thing is a joke. I mean, let's be real, folks. We've had technologies for quite a while to either have super efficient gasoline engines that could get, I mean, I've seen people design gasoline engines that could get up to like 700 miles a gallon. But they've limited those technologies, folks, on purpose because the world was run on the petrodollar. But now they're trying to make the shift out of the petrodollar and into this green technology movement. And you need the lithium and the cobalt. And the funny thing is, these idiots on the left don't realize we don't have those resources. They're not in our areas. Oh, wait a second though. Do we? Oh, guess what just happens to be one of the largest, if not the largest, natural deposit of lithium veins found in the United States. It just, oh my God, happens to be right where all of this mass destruction has just taken place. Wow. And you know what, folks, happens when there's a mass destruction area like that? Oftentimes, the government will come in and seize up that land under eminent domain. And they'll claim that it's too toxic to rebuild, for people to rebuild. And it's going to be too expensive to rebuild the infrastructure and all this and that. And they'll buy out the land for pennies on the dollar out from under people. And then what do you think is going to happen when that's all cleared out? And the United States needs the strategic lithium because guess what? China owns most of the world's lithium supply. You guessed it. And see, you got to realize, folks, the powers behind all this are multinational corporations. In fact, two of them are well known. And many of you, probably your money's being invested through them. Whether you like it or not, or you wanted it or not, because your company's 401k is probably going through them, or their IRAs and such. That would be BlackRock and Vanguard. They just happen to be the two largest globalist, I don't know, what are they? Like hedge funders or like money managers, investment firms. I mean, look, the international banking, cartels, they just change names and change suits sometimes. I would guess that they're probably Rothschild backed or owned altogether. But they were, from what I have heard, it's at least according to what I've seen and heard, that they may have had some of the hand in the wanting to get some of these lithium mines operating in the United States. Because they probably own the corporations that want to do the mining, and they know that it's a strategic resource. And you got to realize, folks, see, this is, when I'm saying strategic resource, I'm talking a strategic military resource. See, the military needs this lithium, and as bad as these they need it for all these green things, for the cars and the panels and everything. The military needs it for their technologies in their weaponry and stuff. And you know how that always works. The military always gets first dibs, right? But you got these two shadow corporations, these national or multinational corporations that got their hands in this too. And folks, I need you to understand, BlackRock and Vanguard, you got to understand the elite. They use specific names and words and symbology because they understand how the quantum field works. And they do this on purpose because words have meanings. And it's word magic. And not only that, when it goes over our heads, they can turn around and say, hey, well, we warned you guys what we were all about. You were just too stupid to know. So it's not our fault. You had a choice. You just chose to be ignorant and lazy and stupid. So that's how they see it. So, and what am I talking about here? Well, BlackRock. Folks, the Black Rock. What is the Black Rock? It's simple. In Mecca, there's the cube of Saturn. Oh, I'm sorry. The cube of Mecca. And in the cornerstone of this cube that all these people walk around when they go to these pilgrimages there, the Islam, followers of Islam, there's a big black rock. It's a meteor, and it's a artifact that has been highly cherished by the Islamic countries for quite a while. It they see it as it was like a fallen star, so to speak, right? It's a meteorite, and I mean, I don't have the time to go through the whole cult of Saturn, but that black rock is the cornerstone of the cube. And if you've done any research, or I would tell you you need to, into the black cube of Saturn, into the cult of Saturn, you'll find where that connection is going with BlackRock. Okay? Think about it. Cult of Saturn, cult of Satan, Saturn, what do you call it? The hexagram that's on the North Pole of it. There's a lot that goes into that, but essentially, it's a three-dimensional build. That hexagram can be a black cube or a square, or sorry, not a square, a cube shape. There's a lot that goes into this. In fact, all three of the Abrahamic faiths are tied into the black cube of Saturn. Your cross is a cube unfolded. The Judeans, oftentimes when they go to the Wailing Wall and they pray, they wear a black cube on their forehead, right in front of their third eye, And when you graduate high school, you have a representation of that black cube, though it's in a one-dimensional aspect in the black top, the hat you wear. That when you graduate high school, you've got that that square on there that represents the black cube of Saturn. And I know this sounds vague because, like I said, I don't have time to go into the whole cube of Saturn thing, but look it up, dig into it yourself, and you'll see what I mean about all this. But anyways, you got the black rock, right? The cube of the cult of Saturn. That's one of these corporations. Then you have Vanguard. Well, what does Vanguard mean, folks? Well, the Vanguard is the front of your military, it'd be like your front lines of your army when you used to invade another country, or when you go to war with them. Your Vanguard is oftentimes like your shock troops. They're your hardened veterans that they take the tip of the spear, so to speak. That's your Vanguard. Well, folks, who are they invading? Well, this multinational corporation invades every nation on Earth. And they take resources from every nation on Earth. And these are your two companies. I mean, it's all in the name, folks. The cult of Satan and the vanguard of their armies. Think about this, folks. It's all in the names. They don't name these corporations like this just like of just some, oh, hey, what do you think would be a good name for this? What about Vanguard? Hey, man, we're going to go with BlackRock. No, man, they know there is an esoteric, occultic meaning behind those names, okay? Now, what we're watching happening in North Carolina is that all of those techniques that were used to pillage foreign lands, like in Africa and Southeast Asia and such, and in South America and Latin America, which has gone on for a long time, now those targets are being moved over the Western worlds. Now these multinationals, to get their way, to get control of these resources, since the Chinese are pushing them out of a lot of these other areas, they're turning their sights on the Western countries that they used to pillage for. Now they're starting to pillage themselves. Because, see, folks, these multinationals, they really have no true loyalty to a nation. They're globalists. And they see everything on a global scale. They don't care if it's the United States, the Congo, um, you know, Thailand or Russia, or they don't care, okay? They just see the resources, they want control of them, and they'll get those resources by any means possible. And most of your politicians are lobbied by these corporations, and so they're going to go along with whatever they want them to do, okay? Absolute corruption. And like I said, many of you, your company invest in Vanguard and BlackRock. I guarantee you, if you got a 401k or an IRA or something through your company, or some kind of a savings plan or investment plan, go look up who's managing your company's portfolio, and you'll find it's more than likely BlackRock or Vanguard. So, what we're witnessing in North Carolina, it's just the beginning, folks. See, if they can get away with now pillaging the Western countries like that directly, wiping out towns by using let's just say means that they've had for quite a while, um, and that's with the backing of the military and everything because they need those strategic resources. You're going to start seeing this happen on a wide scale. If they can get away with it, possibly Maui was something similar, that they can wipe out the area, push the people out of there, the government can come in, claim eminent domain, and then allow these multinational mining corporations and stuff to come in and get those resources. And it's not going to stop from there, folks. This will continue on because see, they don't give an F about us. Okay, I've said this many times. People that actually believe the government has their back are ignorant. Okay, because they have never had your back. If you look at our taxation, if you truly understand what the Federal Reserve Note is, and if you've done your research on any kind of history, you would understand that, look, they have been robbing and pillaging us for a long time. It's just it was always, just under the surface a little bit, and it was incremental, you know. Um, but now they're willingly open or willing to openly, physically push people out of the areas that they need control of. And it's gonna, if we don't stop this, folks, and make an example of these people, this will continue on. It's just the way it is. See, they eventually want to build a one world government where they control all resources, where they control all aspects of our life. Um, a type of world totalitarian technocratic state where you're constantly surveilled, where they only allow you to use what resources they will allow you to use, and we'll be all like serfs. And guess what? As their robotics and their AI continue to improve, and once they can mass scale those systems, they won't even need us as serfs anymore. And what do you think they're going to do when that day comes? Okay? When that tipping point comes where they're having to do all this universal basic income and all that because there are no jobs anymore, because we have an automated world for the most part. They're going to need some workers still. There's going to be, you're going to still need mechanics, and you're going to need people to work on these systems. However, what if the robots and AI get to the point where they self repair and replicate? Then you don't even need engineers or mechanics. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, folks, but this is where they're planning to take us. The WEF has all this lined out. They've already said all this stuff. It's all under their sustainability plans. See, they use all these code words that sound just nice and fluffy to some people. Like, I mean, you say sustainability to a liberal and they get wet in their pants. Like, oh my God, oh, sustainability is such an amazing thing. These idiots don't know that what sustainability means. That, well, 20 years from now, there ain't going to be you. okay? That's what that means, dummy. I mean, these people are just total imbeciles. I mean, it's so unfortunate that we're stuck with half the population that has no freaking clue. And look, I'm talking about people on the right, too. I mean, so many ignorant people on the right, too. But man, the people on the left that fall for this stuff, I mean, they're just complete idiots, man. I don't know. Uh, I don't know. I don't know if they willingly want this destruction and takeover of the world and the depop. I don't, dismissal. I don't know if they actually want this secretly or if they're just that stupid. But I don't know. That's what makes it so hard when you have, I mean, really, you only got about 10% of the world's population that have some kind of understanding about what's really going on. Most people are ignorant on both sides of the aisle, all the way down. It don't matter income levels or anything. Some of the dumbest people on earth are some of the richest too. They may be smart at business things, but as far as geopolitics and other things, and occultic things, they're ignorant. So, anyways, guys, I gotta roll. It's Monday. Work sucks because of all the disaster stuff out here. We've been trying to get caught up. So, anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Remember, any of you that wants to help out ETM, I would love to do a one-on-one Zoom with you. I've got that going still. I've got some opening time slots. Just hit me up. What I'm asking is my time for a $25 donation will get you a half an hour of time with me one-on-one Zoom. We can talk about anything you want. $50 will get you an hour, and typically most people have been booking about 2 hours because once we get going, man, we have great conversations, and I just love connecting with people and the networking, and it's what I've got to trade is some of my time. Okay, I could be hawking you products left and right all day on my videos, and I'm not doing that. And on my Facebook, I'm being honest, I do have a few sponsors I work with. It's nothing major. Some links I throw in the comments and stuff like that. But I love the one-on-one and sharing and building a network with people. And the people that have been doing the Zooms with me, not only do they need, not have maybe somebody they can chat with about a lot of this stuff, a lot of times they want to pass me information on that I can pass on to more people. And that's their way of helping. And so I do appreciate that. And I appreciate people believing in me. And I know I've got to work better at this. And I got to get more videos out. And I got to get my podcasts up and running. And got a lot of stuff in my personal life, but I've got to get on the grind here, folks. I mean, I am always working on my social media, but the video aspect of it takes a lot more time and effort, and it's been hit and miss here lately, and part of that's because of what we've gone through out here. We were out of complete cell and internet for almost 5 days, so I was kind of out of it for a while, so I got to get some videos cranking here. But we are going to go to a more professional setup. We are going to be doing podcasts. I want to do podcasts on near-death experiences. That's one thing I want to definitely go down because I think so many people need to hear this stuff. But anyways, I'll keep you guys tuned when we're going to get that going. And if any of you have had one that are listening to this, get in touch with me too, because I would love to start setting up bookings for podcasts on that subject. So anyways, guys, hey, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later.